We're going to go through what I think are some of the most useful and powerful features on the Analog 4. We will talk about my favorite feature, which is the performance macros. We'll talk about sound and parameter locking, trig conditions, kits. We'll dive into the advanced sequencer, polymeters, and all the good stuff. So I want to jump into what's probably my favorite feature on the Analog 4, and that is the performance macros. So I'm in performance mode right here. And all of these encoders you can set up with up to 5 parameters each. So in order to set up the performance macros, you hit Function, Performance, and then you can go into the Performance Configure menu. The first one here, this obviously just corresponds to all these encoders here. In order to preview the changes, you just turn this dial here. In order to change what track you want this applied to, you actually just click the encoder. So right now, these are all applied to track 2. So if I hit the encoder, it will change. And then you can set either a negative or a positive value with this. And then in order to change what you actually want to modulate, then you just change to whatever parameter that you want. I'll have a little bit of overdrive. Typically on the Elektron boxes, you'll have to go into mute mode specifically to mute the tracks, or you can just hold Function and mute the corresponding tracks. On this, there's just this performance button. Once you're in here, you have access to the performance macros and the muting, which is really nice. Noise level. And you can actually mute and unmute the performance features. And this quick performance knob is really handy as well. So what this does, if you hold this, you can choose which macros you want to apply to this singular knob. If we select all 3 here, then we turn this, it's going to turn all 3 at the same time, which is really handy. All right, so that's performance macros. Definitely one of my favorite features of the Analog 4. Another amazing feature of the Elektron boxes just in general is going to be parameter locking and sound locking. This track 3, this is a drum pattern that is made primarily with just sound locking and parameter locking, and I'll show you how to do that. So how do you access the songs that you want to sound lock? Well, you need to put them in the sound pool. And in order to do that, we go sound here. You go into this and then you go to the sound manager. And then if you hit left and you hit filter, you can filter to what specific type of sound you want. So in this case, you want to filter, for kick, snares, and hi-hats. So to preview this, we just simply hit the key and it will preview. So if we find something we want, all we have to do is hit yes and it'll check mark it. So we can do multiple, and then we hit right, and then we hit copy to, and then we hit sound pool. So if you lay down a trig, you hold down the trig, and then you turn this encoder, this will bring up all of the sounds that we have loaded into the sound pool, and you can have 128 in here. And to preview whatever you put down there, you just hold it in and hit yes. And then, now we have that there. So yeah, that's how you can basically take a whole drum kit and make a drum loop on just one track. So any of these things that are blinking means that it's parameter locked or sound locked in some sort of way. And if we scroll through the pages here, the highlighted areas are where the parameter locks are in place. So in order to change any of these, all you have to do is just hold the trig, and then you can just move the encoder and change whatever you want. To get it back to the default, you just simply click the encoder, and then it'll erase whatever parameter lock you have in there. If you want to reset everything, Then while you're holding this, you just hit the play button, which underneath it says clear. That will clear all the parameter locks. Let's go to this bass line I have. So as you can hear, this changes. So what I have is I actually have this parameter locked to an LFO here. So if we hold this in and go to the LFO page, it's actually on page 2. I basically just have a volume LFO set to a square, so it goes on and off, and then I have it set to 64. So this is just going to play normally. Well, actually I have this one set to 16. So it goes slow, and then it hits this and it speeds up, and you can hear that. 32 is the default, so if you don't have anything parameter locked, it's just going to default to 32. This I have set to 64, and then this one I don't want any modulation at all. I just wanted to play out like a normal note, so I parameter lock that one to just X1, which isn't gonna, you're not gonna hear any, any LFO at that point. Note slide is another cool feature of the Analog 4. Say if I put a trigger right here, instead of just playing that note, it's gonna slide to that note. And we can edit the speed of that if we go into oscillator page 2. There's a slide parameter here. So and an easy way to actually, instead of going into the note slide menu and selecting it, a really easy way is if you're in the grid record mode, just to hold this in and then just hit that. So you don't have to go into the menu to add it. This is a lot easier way to do it there. And you can even parameter lock the note slide time as well. So if we go into here and we want this one a shorter one and this a longer one, we can do that. You actually have multiple different menus here. So if we hit function, we can go into trig mutes. So what this will do, let's go to, you can kind of use this as a performance feature. So if we go into trig mutes, actually let's go on to track 3. So anything we put here is just going to mute those specifically. So it's kind of like mute mode, but just for specific triggers, which can be really handy in like a live performance scenario. Another great feature of the sequencer is Trig Conditions. Trig Conditions are really handy for making your patterns seem a little bit longer than they are, adding a little bit more variation. So as you can see, this is only a 16-step pattern, but it changes a little bit. And the way to do that is with these trig probabilities. So 2/2 means for each time it loops through twice, it's going to play only this note on the second time. And then this one is just the opposite. For every 2 go-arounds, it's going to play on the first one, but not on the second one. And we can hear that here. So plays on the first one, not on the second one. Okay, so I've added a trig here, and we can take this and then go into the trig probability. So if you go to the right, you have specific settings. So the line on top means not. This will not play on the first go around, but every other time after that it will. And this is the opposite. Of course, it will play on only the first and then nothing else. If you go to the left, we'll get into the probability percentage. So if we hit this on 50%, this is going to trig 50% of the time. So it did not play. There it did. There it did. There it did not. So, 50% of the time. If I take these and let's just take one of these and change it to play on the first go around, and then the other one we'll set to play on the second go around. There's a trick to where you can use the same slot. And so if we take this here and then just micro time and put it all the way to the left, Essentially, these are both going to be on the same trig. You know, you're not going to really be able to hear that much, you know, micro timing difference. And then when we play this, this is going to sound like it's a 32-step pattern. So that's a really good way to lengthen your patterns. So FX, we haven't talked about FX yet. You can use the sequencer with the FX track, which is pretty handy. But let's check out the effects, what we have. So on track 1, I'm using all 3 of the effects. So we have, so on the analog 4, they call these the wide shift chorus, saturator, delay, and then the super void reverb. They all sound great. And all of the effects are send effects, which means you just go to the track that you want to apply the effect to, and then you go to the amp page, and then they're all here, and then you just dial in how much you want. So how do we actually get to the effects to change them? Well, underneath here, you'll see this says chorus, delay, and reverb. So if we go to the effects track and then click on any one of these, and we'll go to the chorus, delay, and the reverb itself. The sequencer, extremely powerful feature of the Analog 4, and then just on all the Elektron boxes in general. Probably the first thing that I do is if you hit function page, which brings you to the scale menu, by default, it's just set to normal, which just means the whole pattern, whenever you change this, it just changes for the whole pattern. So we definitely want advanced, which means each track has its own individual length. You can also change the master length as well. Okay, so you only have access to 4 pages, which is 64 steps. So an easy way to lengthen the amount of steps is just simply to go here. Instead of 1x speed, you change it to half x speed. The only downside of this is it does decrease the resolution on the sequencer. So instead of having a 16th step for all these, it basically turns them into an 8th step because it's playing slower. If you're using something like a pad, this works great because you don't need that resolution, and you can just simply change it to half speed and then just have double the length. Now what we also want to do, if we change this to essentially be 128, we also have to change the master too. So if we have this only set to 64, this pattern is only going to play halfway through, and then it's going to reset in the second half we're not going to get. So we need to change this to 128. If we play this, you'll see it'll play a lot slower than, say, the drums. This is the drum pattern. And if we go to here, it's going to go a lot slower. And it's not going to reset here. It's going to keep going because we have the master set to 128. A really good way to make intricate patterns that don't sound like they're just looping over and over again, we can set different lengths for each track. That's what's called a polymeter. And that can really allow your patterns to sound a lot more intricate. Let's do an example of that. I had changed the bass track to be only 8 steps, and then this dream key lead is only 10 steps. And then to even make it better, we can take, let's see, that's 10 steps, yeah. Let's take one of these and just put it, let's maybe put this once we'll play every second go around, and then it'll introduce even more movement to it. And then we can maybe put one here and maybe do this one every third. We can also do the same to the bass here. So let's take, because this bass is a little static, so let's make it a little bit more interesting. So we can do this one maybe on the first go around. We'll do 1/2. And then maybe we'll go here and do this one every third time. Yeah. Maybe we'll do one here. And then we'll do that, maybe we'll do that once every, we'll do that like 2/3. So with just that, we've created, I mean, with just 8 steps here and 10 steps here and 16 steps here, we've created something that sounds way more detailed and intricate and evolving. I mean, it sounds a lot longer than it really is. It definitely just doesn't sound like a static, 16-bar loop playing over and over again. So extremely powerful. I mean, the sequencer, in my opinion, there's no better sequencer on the market than the Elektron sequencers. Because of stuff like this. I mean, different timing, parameter locking, sound locking. I mean, it all makes this possible. And we're only using 3 tracks. A single track, we're using, all the drum sounds is on a single track. And like I said, we're only using, 10 steps here and 8 steps there. And we haven't even gotten to the fills yet. So if I want these to only play when I hit the fill button, I just have to parameter lock these to the Trig condition. So if I change this to be fill, so now when we play through this, it's not going to play these unless I hit this fill button. So if I hold this in, then it's going to play this now. And also what's nice about the Analog 4 is we can cue the fill. So if we're playing this, if we hit function, then this is going to blink. It's not going to play, it's going to wait. So now it's lit, and then it's going to play now. And then it'll turn off, and then you'll have to cue it again. So when it's blinking, it means it's queued until the next go around, and then now it's active. Now, if we also take all that into context and then also use the performance macros, which we haven't even been using, then this is the power of this. And with all this, we're not even using track 4. We still have some more that we can add here. So I'm only using track 1, 2, and 3 at the moment. So we can even add some more here. What do we want to do? All right, and then also live record mode. We haven't really talked about that either, but live record mode, you just hit, you hold in the record button and hit play, and then you'll see it shows quantized or unquantized. So we can choose to do either one. So I'll choose quantized, and then we'll record something in on this 4th track here. then if we want to change any of these when they're already in, then in grid record mode, we can just hold the trig and it'll show that whatever note is on there. And if we want to change it, we want to change maybe that to that. And then we can do that. All right, let's set up another performance macro for this fourth track here. Let's go to D, and then we'll want to change that to 4. We'll turn this up so we can hear it in action. Maybe we can do the D tune, that sounds all right. Kits are a little bit confusing. If you're coming from the smaller Elektron boxes, whenever you copy a pattern, it's just creating a new kit every single time. You don't have access to save specific kits. It's just each pattern has its own kit no matter what. Well, on the Analog 4 and the Analog Rhythm, anytime you change to a new pattern, it's just going to retain the current kit that you have. If I copy this pattern to a new one here, if I make a change to any of these sounds, and I switch back to this old pattern, those sounds are going to reflect on both of those patterns that has kit to assign. So you need to be careful about that. If you don't want that to happen, we just hit the kit menu there and then we go to save kit. And then we're on kit 2 now, and you can save up to 128 kits. So you definitely have plenty of room to do this. We'll go to a new slot here and then we'll just name this whatever you want. I'll just name it kit 4. Now, if we make a change to any of these, it will not reflect on this other pattern. So it's nice that you have the flexibility of this. And also definitely make sure to save your kits. I can't tell you how many times I've worked on the Analog 4 and I've created a new kit and changed the sounds, but I don't save them. And you will lose that because you do need to save your kits. A really easy shortcut to save your kits is just hold yes and then just hit the kit button and then the kit 4 is saved there. Do this a lot. Do this all the time. Yes, kit. Every second, do this. Just do it constantly. What's really unique about the Analog 4 is that it actually has 2 oscillators, and the wave shape is a little bit unique as well. So this is a saw, but this parameter here, this pulse width, this is actually going to change the shape of this wave. So this starts as a saw, and as we move this, it changes shape. This is an interesting one. It's kind of a mix between a saw and a square. And then this is just a pure square. But if we change this, at the extreme ends, it turns more into a saw. And then we also have the sub oscillator, which is, I love these on this. I mean, it just instantly fattens it up. And then we can also do the detune. I love this as well. You can't hear it as much unless you introduce a second oscillator. So let's introduce the second oscillator here. And check out that detune. That sounds very, very nice. And also what's nice about this is, so the Analog 4 has 2 LFO pages. It kind of has 4 LFOs, 2 of them being they share the same speed and the wave shape. It's almost like having 4 LFOs and then 5, maybe even 6 if we count these as well, because this speed modulates the pulse width. So if we turn this up, it acts like an LFO, but we don't have to use one of the LFO slots to do that. So, I mean, LFOs are some of the best ways to get your sound sounding more detailed and intricate. And the fact that we have all these modulation capabilities on here is amazing. And then page 2 on each oscillator, they have different settings. So on oscillator 1, you can introduce noise. That's pretty crunchy. And then on oscillator 2 is different. You can turn on amplitude modulation for both oscillator 1 and oscillator 2. So the second page on oscillator 2 actually interacts with oscillator 1. There's some sync modes and sync amount that we can actually do as well. We have vibrato here as well. So yeah, super, super powerful sound design potential for the Analog 4. The Analog 4 is a little bit difficult to get the sounds that you want out of it, I found, if you don't spend time with it. If you spend time with it, you can get some amazing sounds out of this, and it is analog after all, which sounds very nice. It does take some work to get the settings dialed in, but if you do spend some time with it, I think this is absolutely one of the best analog synths out there.